Coming up, 2024's creative trends for your brand. Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Your Creative Brief and Happy New Year. Speaking of New Year, the marketing experts are saying that nostalgia is really going to be on trend again for this year. In fact, Adobe even calls it the new nostalgia. Now, why do I think nostalgia is going to be so effective? Well, when you think in terms of everything going on like war and politics and the economy, even trying to get our footing post-pandemic, thinking about our schedules, they're so desynchronized and chaotic, the future might feel a little less optimistic or certain. So nostalgia can help us escape to a happier, more simple time in our lives where we have these fond memories and kind of our comforting favorites. And also, I think that many of these decades were before we had social media, before everybody had a really strong opinion about something. And so there might have been more of a sense of unity around things that we all loved and appreciated. Now, there's about 15 to 20 creative design trends going on for 2024. And what I'm going to do is give you links to a couple of videos in the comments that do an awesome job of extensively going through each one. But what I haven't seen so far is a resource helping you figure out a practical ways on how you can apply these to your brand. Because not every brand is, chicken sandwiches or luxury footwear or perfume that might lend itself to some of these styles. So my two pieces of advice for you are to go ahead and pick some of these styles that work for your brand, but make sure you leverage that nostalgia in whatever you're using it for. Number two is go ahead and mix and match these styles. You can borrow a typeface or shapes or colors from different eras or decades. You might focus on one decade, or you might do a succession of decades. It doesn't really matter. Just make it work for you. And above all else, create an ingenious, authentic brand application to keep this from feeling gimmicky. Okay, so let's dive in. The first one is probably the least practical way that you can do this, and that's to overhaul your brand's entire visual identity to be nostalgic. Now, Burger King did exactly this. Their branding now is a total throwback to the 1970s. If you do this, you're going to have to work with an agency like our Sties Creative, because it's going to touch every piece of your marketing collateral, from online to packaging to signage to vehicle wraps, just everything. So let's take a look at Fender though. I wouldn't say that every aspect of their brand or visual identity is vintage Americana, but they do push it in certain things, and I think it works really well for them. So there might be a singular aspect of your brand that you could highlight with a sense of nostalgia. The second way you could leverage some of these styles and nostalgia in 2024 is with your product packaging. Take a look at Fuel America. Now, their line of coffees all have patriotic and kind of mid-century typography and these muted patriotic colors. Now, maybe your whole line of products doesn't lend itself to nostalgia. In that case, look at what La Colombe Coffee did. This Sun Chaser coffee is just one flavor of theirs, and it's designed to look like the early 1970s. So maybe you have one existing product or a new product coming online that would really lend itself to having a nostalgic look. The third way you could evoke a sense of nostalgia and use some of these creative trends is through campaigns. So let's take a look and see what Pepsi did a couple years ago with their cans. It shows their logos, over the various decades. And you could do that with your own logo, or you could do like a then and now photo of your business location. I do those photos all around the country, and it's always an effective conversation starter. You could pair that with a campaign for like a business milestone anniversary, and maybe award prizes to people who post their favorite memories of your brand on social media with a certain hashtag. Here's another idea. Look what KFC did a couple years ago with these retro Christmas graphics on their buckets of chicken. So you could tie in this sense of nostalgia, just seasonally. It doesn't have to be, your whole visual identity. Pop-Tarts did this limited time throwback pack with retro graphics. So maybe you have a singular product you could do this with for, a limited time. You could even do some public service announcements, PSAs on social media that use nostalgic graphics. My fourth and final example of how you can bring nostalgia and some of these design trends into 2024 for your brand is through events and festivals, which I think do some of the best creative work at mixing and matching these styles. Take a look at this Women's Surf Film Festival. I love how they use this retro 70s graphic illustration style, and yet the colors are really modern and fresh. These various jazz festivals all have visual collateral that pulls from a number of styles like Cubism, Bauhaus, Modernism, all from the early to mid 1900s. Then this Midtown Music Festival totally pulls a look and feel, I said totally, from the 1980s. So a way that you could apply this is maybe your company has an annual charitable event or an employee appreciation event that you can have a theme with nostalgia and bring in some of these creative and visual trends. Maybe you've already been using nostalgia in your design work. If so, I would love to see examples of it, so be sure to leave me some comments and links below. Or maybe you're struggling with this and need some help for 2024. If so, feel free to reach out to us at Sties Creative Agency. We'd love to talk with you. Until next time, I'm Mark for your Creative Brief.